Dum, dum, dum. Dun, dun, dun. Hello, guys. Good night, everyone. Welcome to tonight's live stream. So, welcome. We're gonna talk a little bit about stocks today. Um, talk about what happened in the day, and also what to look for tomorrow. Um, Tomorrow, Friday, last day of trading of the week. So we'll see what happens tomorrow on in the stock market. Let's see the calendars. What do we have for tomorrow? I don't think there's a lot of data tomorrow. Um, where's my calendar? Market watch. Economic calendar tomorrow, Friday. I already know there's not a lot. Import price index. Um, Housing, building permits, and consumer sentiment preliminary. So there's not a lot of data tomorrow. I think one of the the main pieces of data tomorrow is the building permits. So um, how many permits have been issued to build more homes? But that usually doesn't really move the market. It just kind of gives you an idea of how many homes are being built, but it doesn't really affect or move the market a lot. So, and it's good data, but it's not gonna affect the market. Consumer sentiment. It's a preliminary one, so we'll see that data as well tomorrow, just to see where how people are feeling in terms of inflation, and if they feel like things are getting more expensive. And this is a survey that one of the universities does on, I believe it's about 10,000 people, something like that. So and it's just based on opinions of people, how they feel about the economy. So that survey, again, it does move the market a little bit, but we'll see what they report on that survey tomorrow. So that's pretty much what we have for Fridays. Fridays are usually slow when it's on about trading. It's pretty slow because a lot of the companies and uh, the retail traders and big companies, they don't trade a lot, or they close positions on Fridays because obviously the market is closed on Saturday and Sunday. So they really, there's not a lot of volume on Fridays. Okay, welcome everyone to the live stream again. If you guys are joining for the first time, or you were here yesterday or the day before, we're just here, for just maybe an hour, a couple hours, just to talk about the stock market, talk about what happened during the day, and also what do we expect for tomorrow. So if you guys are in the stock market and are waiting to see what happens tomorrow, well, that's what we're here to talk about. So we'll start with a little piece of data that came out today. If you guys are aware, the uh, the 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 CPI report came out, and it was expected to be at about 2.4%, and it came out lower than that at 2.3%. So last week we had also the PPI, which is the producer price index. Um, no, actually, that was today. Let's see. Today we had, yeah, today we have PPI. I'm mixing those up. Today we had PPI inflation, and but it was also lower than the one from last week. So PPI, which is a producer price index, which pretty much is how much factories and companies pay for goods, and based on how much they pay, then um, you know more or less there's a calculation to see how much is going to be passed on to the consumer, which is you and I, and they take that into account to count towards inflation. But today it was pretty good. It was better than expected, and typically when you have better than expected reports, the market takes it as a positive thing because it's going to influence the rate cuts, which may or may not happen in June. So yeah, so that was the news today. The the PPI, the producer price index, that came out better than expected. Now, last week we had the CPI. That's the one that I was mixing. We had the CPI, which is the consumer price index, which is how much we pay for goods when we go to the store, and that compares year to date to see what how much we pay now compared to how much we paid last year. And it also came in lower than expected. I believe it was a 2.3 compared to 2.4 expected. So that was also a pretty good indicator that inflation is slowing down, and the tariffs are not really affecting, at least as of now, they are not really affecting inflation. And so inflation is not going up just because these two reports, the CPI and the PPI, came in lower than what analysts expected. So Jesus Morales, thank you for the follow, man. And Seer02, also appreciate the follow. If you guys are here for the first time, we get together here at 9 p.m. just to kind of talk a little bit about the stock market, and and then just talk about what happened during the day, what to expect for the next day, and then just to analyze some stocks, take a look at what could be a potential buy for some people. Again, we're just analyzing and sharing ideas, and also I'm sharing some of the knowledge I have. And if you've never been involved in the stock market, I can also give you a couple of baby steps to get started into that. And main reason is why get started into all of this uh, investment. So that's what we're here for. Show, what does it say? Show the audience your portfolio. uh I don't want to show my portfolio, man. Not because I don't want to show you, whether I lose or win. It's not very professional, to show if I'm making money. I'm being completely honest. In the stock market, especially on swing trades, you lose win, you lose some, you win some. So um, just show us, who cares. Now I'm not very comfortable. I can tell you that right now I am positive on Nvidia. That I can tell you. That's one of the positions that I'm hoping to close pretty soon. Right now I think Nvidia closed. Let's see. Nvidia closed. Oh, that's the stock I have open. Closed at around 134. It kind of stayed very choppy during the day. So my hope is to close at around 140. I have a covered call for Nvidia, and it's supposed to close tomorrow at 140. That's the strike price at 140. But I don't know if it closes at 140. I'm out, and then I collect my premium. If it doesn't, then I just at least get my premium, and I I don't sell the stock, so I keep all my stocks. So we'll see. I don't really think it's gonna get to 140 tomorrow, just because it's a Friday, and like I mentioned earlier, Fridays are usually pretty slow, just because there is not a lot of volume, and a lot of people start closing their positions. Uh, the options expire, so usually Fridays are slow, unless Trump speaks tomorrow, and he has some kind of a good news on inflation, or well, not inflation, but on the deals that he's closing with other countries. I know he's about to announce something with India today. He mentioned that India wanted to deal with the U.S., and they wanted to offer a 0% tariff. So, but he just said it. There's no deal. There's no confirmation. So unless he comes out and has big news, then the market might move. Whether it's for the to the upside or to the downside, we don't know. Depends on what he says. Uh, See, show your portfolio while you over here begging, begging for what? The sauce. I'm just here to talk about stocks, man. Like I have no need to show anyone my portfolio. I have two portfolios. I have one long-term portfolio, which is what I hope to collect when I retire, and then I have the one that I use for swing trading. The one for swing trading, obviously, I close positions all the time. The one for long term, I just buy. I just buy whenever there is a dip. I just try to add some more stocks into my long term portfolio. Boston investing. Hey, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. Appreciate it, and appreciate you guys joining the stream. Uh, Again, if this is the first time that you join this live, my name is Gerardo. I trade stocks on. I'm a swing trader, so I don't really day trade, but I swing trade, and I also invest long term. So the long term is just hoping to retire with some of that with some of that money. So so that's what I do. That's what I do, and I have my job too. So I don't do this full time. That's why day trading just usually doesn't work out for me. Because if you day trade, you gotta be in front of the computer all day, and I just don't have the time to do that. So that's why I swing trade. I wake up in the morning. I read the news, analyze. I have a group, and I have a mentor, which we wake up early in the morning to kind of talk about the stocks, talk about what the news are, and what to expect for the day, and then we prepare ourselves, and then market opens. If there's a good opportunity, we take it for a swing trade. If there are no opportunities, then we don't trade. So sometimes like today, it was a very choppy day for a lot of the stocks, especially the Max 7, so the best 7 companies that you can see here. They were very choppy. I mean, as you can see, a lot of them didn't really move. I mean, Amazon went negative about $5. Meta went down $15, but for Meta, I mean, that's a little bit. Nvidia went down 0.50, so they didn't really move. So it was a pretty crappy day to trade, to be honest. Uh, so how long did it take you to read charts and understand them? Spider. Oh, I think you were here yesterday, weren't you? So to fully understand, because there are a lot of indicators, and a lot of people use a whole bunch of indicators, And when I first started, I was looking at, I don't know, like maybe 20, 30 indicators, and I wanted to find out which one would be the best fit for me. So, like, after looking at a bunch of these indicators, I started to narrow it down and then just look at something a lot more simpler that that I could understand, and that I didn't have to, be looking at like 10 different things to see whether it was a good trade or not. So I know, if you day trade, you got to use some kind of different indicators, just because the market is, moving a lot faster, and you got to be able to know where your entries are and your exits. So a lot of people who day trade, they use the VWAP indicator, just because they want to know, the average of the market. But just to answer your question, it took me about 2 years, I would say, to fully get a grasp of the indicators and the charts that I use. Um, but I mean, if you, and this is again because this is not my full time job. I just do this on the side. I swing trade, and again invest for retirement, in my long term portfolio. So that's why it took me longer. It took me about 2 years, because I was studying here and there. I was reading here and there. I was taking a couple of courses here and there. So it was never like my full time thing. If it would have been my full time, I probably would have been able to grasp a concept of how to understand charts, and resistance, um, and downtrends and all that stuff, in probably a year. I probably would have been able to do it in a year. But again, because it's not my full time, it just took me a little bit longer. So yeah. I bought Meta today at 641. Did you buy it on the drop? So let's see Meta. Meta. Let's look at the 4 hour chart. So if you bought like around, I mean, you kind of bought it a little bit at the top, because I mean, it closed. I mean, you closed positive at least, but the thing with Meta, is the following, right? So the service that Meta offers is great, because they got Facebook, they got Instagram. My problem with Meta, which I really like, I like Meta. I think it's, I mean, it's not for nothing that Meta is one of the Max Seven. It's one of the most powerful companies, um, in the stock market, because it has a big market cap. The market cap is at 1.6 trillion. So it is a very powerful company with that makes a lot of money. But then at the same time, Meta offers services that people are able to live without. And when you have those kind of services that you can live without, in a recession, or in tariffs, people could live without Meta. And if that happens, well, the stock is going to go down. Now when you talk about Apple makes computers, makes phones. Can you live without your phone? Most of us in the US use, Apple or iPhones. Can you live without your iPhone? Even if in a recession, you're still gonna try to get a new iPhone, or buy or upgrade, because you're always gonna need it. So that's a big difference between investing in Apple and investing in Meta. But I mean, if you bought at 641, man, best of luck to you. Um, the highs of Meta, I think, in, see, when was it, in February, it was at about $737. Okay, that was the high. Would it get there, and soon? I don't know. It all depends on the news. It all depends um, on the if the Fed is cutting rates or not. So I think that's what's the only thing that for now it's gonna pump, Meta, or unless there are some kind of deals, that they offer, just like with Nvidia, that they've been closing a lot of deals in Saudi Arabia. That could also pump the market. But as of now, I mean, there's nothing else that's pumping Meta. They don't have earnings until July. So if you're willing to hold that for a little while, you might get some profits there. What's the best one for option for what's the best one for option for day trading? What do you mean, Mian? Like the best option, like the best stock, or the best indicators? What do you mean? What indicators do you use to start your trades in the morning? So the indicators that I look at are obviously the SMAs, right? The simple moving averages. I try to take a look at where those are. As you can see right now with Meta, I mean, Meta is pretty far away from the 200, which typically that's how this stock moves, above the 200, except a couple months ago when it dropped below the 200 SMA, which is my orange line right there. It is kind of pulling away from the 50 as well. So when you start to see stocks pulling away from the SMAs, from those indicators, that kind of tells you that maybe the stock is a little bit overbought at this point. So if it was me, again, you guys make your own decisions, but if it was me, I would just try to wait and see the stock at least try to reclaim or come back, a little pullback to maybe the 50 SMA. As you can see, another indicator that I use is the RSI, which also tells me whether the stock is overbought or oversold. And at this point, you can see right there in this part that the stock is a little bit oversold. Just because of the moves that it had for the past, I think it was for the past week. It jumped very aggressively. So that makes the stock oversold, and it's just natural that after the stock being oversold, it just pulls back. So, and that's what happened here. You see, so it oversold after 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, about 6 days in the positive. It's just natural for a stock to pull back, and it has to because that's the way stocks move, right? Stocks never move in a straight line up. If it does, then eventually that stock, if it moves up aggressively, it's gonna drop aggressively. So in this case, it moved up for like 6 days. It tends to happen, that it's gonna pull back a little bit, and that's healthy. At this point, there's nothing wrong with Meta. There are no bad news about Meta, so it's just a healthy pullback. So Mian, that's what I use. I use the RSI, I use the SMAs, just to kind of get an idea of where the stock is going for the day. What are your thoughts on the VIX? You think it's going to stay below 18? Let's take a look at the VIX. I think the VIX, I have it here. The VIX closed at 17. I don't know what it is like right now. I haven't looked at the futures yet. The VIX is at, yeah, it's at 17. So it's about the same, 1783. So tomorrow there's very low volume, so I don't see the VIX moving either way. I think it's just gonna stay choppy between 17, 18. If there are good news though, if Trump speaks tomorrow and he shares that he has closed another deal either with India, I know they are in talks with Japan, with South Korea, and I can't remember, there's another country, Vietnam, I believe. If he speaks and he shares that there's another deal just like the ones he closed on Monday and Tuesday with Saudi Arabia, then the market is gonna pump and the VIX is gonna drop, and he probably is gonna stop at around 15 because it has a really good resistance at around 15, as you can see. See in the chart. See this part here. Let me draw the line here. So right about there, see, it's a $15. I don't know if you can see that number. So and it's been having a lot of resistance there, and it's been stopping there. So if it drops to 15, the market is just gonna shoot up tomorrow. If there are bad news though, then the VIX probably could go up to 20. That's where the other resistance is. So support at 15, and then some resistance at 20. If it goes past 20, I mean, the market is gonna tank tomorrow. But I mean, with all the good news, with all the good deals, with all the good investments that have been announced, I don't see that happening unless we have some sort of events tomorrow that that move the market. So that's my thought on the VIX. Uh, what tip would you give me as a swing trader? Uh, so here's what I think. This is what I do as a swing trader. I tried to be a day trader. It didn't work for me because one, you have to be watching the stock every day, and all day. You have to be in front of the computer. Even if you go to the bathroom, you're like, you want to be in front of the monitor because you want to see where the opportunity is, either to exit or to enter. So being a day trader is very stressful, and I decided to just be a swing trader because if I buy whenever a stock is oversold, I can sleep at night because I know if it's a good company and there are no major problems with the stock. I mean, I'm gonna sleep like a baby because I know that that stock is gonna recover. I'll give you an example. I'll give you two examples. One good one, one bad one. So Nvidia, no, which is, I mean, you guys all know that Nvidia is crazy, and it's been moving pretty good for the past week. So when Nvidia started to dip back in, let's say, back in March, after, or actually April, when they announced the tariffs, when it started to move down, I mean, I was buying this stock at 120. I was buying the stock at like 110, and I was buying the stock on a different day. Like I didn't catch the very bottom. But I'm gonna be honest. When it was at 87, I thought, well, I'm gonna get some more shares, but I'm gonna wait for it to get to 85, and it never got there, and it started to go up, and then I bought it again at 93. That was one of my last purchases. So I bought a 93. No, I'm lying. I bought a 93, and then I bought it at 100 again when it started to go up. So I was buying the dip, and then I was buying a little bit on the way up. I stopped buying at 100. I was about to get some more at 109, I think, but I said, you know what? No, I'm just gonna wait to see what happens with Nvidia, and then cash out some of that investment. So as a swing trader, you always wanna down cost average. If it's a company that you believe in. I've done a lot of research on Nvidia. I know that right now there is nobody else that can compete against Nvidia. Every year they're releasing new chips, upgraded chips, which are chips that are energy efficient. And if I mean, the new administration, they're all about energy efficiency, right? So that's the future. I mean, one, because of AI, and two, because of energy efficiency. So if that's the future, I know, and Nvidia is number one right now. I know Nvidia is gonna do pretty good. Even if it drops, 20, $30, $40, it doesn't matter because Nvidia, as of now, has no competition, and I know this stock is gonna recover. It doesn't matter if I bought it at 130 and it went down all the way to 80. I know it's gonna recover because there's nobody else competing against Nvidia. Now, when it dropped all the way to 90 and 100, and then they started, with the good news about the tariffs. Then there were more deals with Saudi Arabia. Then they are removing some restrictions so that Nvidia could sell in any other country. That before they had restrictions, or they had to get a license to be able to sell in those countries, and now they could just pretty much sell to any country they want. Those are really good news that really pushed this stock up. So I bought over a lot of days, and now I'm ready to cash out. Okay, so I think I mentioned it earlier. My down my average, my cost average is at about 115. So I'm already up like 20 plus dollars. I'm waiting for it to go to 140 because it's gonna hit a big resistance at 140, and at 140 I'm out. I bought a covered call for tomorrow. So if by tomorrow doesn't get to 140, I just get to keep my premium on the covered call, and also I get to keep my shares. So and I'm still making money. So that's my advice on swing trading. Buy the dips whenever you see stocks getting oversold. Just buy a little bit at a time. Never buy with everything you got because you don't know where the bottom is. So if you see a stock fall, buy a little bit. If you see it fall a lot more, buy a little bit more and just down cost average all the way. Again, if you already did the research on a specific company, if you believe in that company, and you know that that company has a future, so that's pretty much what I got to say about swing trading. Um, let's see. Thank you guys for the comments. Thank you for the follows. I appreciate it. And if you guys can help me with by tapping the screen, that will help me a lot. I'm really enjoying these kind of talks at night. I at first I thought it wouldn't be a good idea to do it from like 9 to 11 because I say, well, it's late, people are already asleep, and I don't know about you guys. You might be already in bed and just kind of watching some live, some TikToks. So it might work out better to do it at night than to do it during the day. Because at first I was doing it during the day, like around 5, 6, but I think a lot of people are probably just getting out of work, getting to their house, eating, showering, doing all this stuff, so they ain't got no time. And for me, I was kind of rushing too, because I get home from work, and I was rushing to try to get to the live, and not a lot of people joined during that time. So I said, well, I'm just gonna move it to the night and see what happens. So I appreciate you guys, taking some of your time being here, and I'm more than happy to answer any questions. But I also appreciate if you guys can give me a tap and like the live and share it if you guys can. That will help me a lot and will continue to motivate me to keep doing some of these lives. Let's see. What do you think? Let's see. Damn Steph, thank you for the follow, man. I appreciate that. What do you think about Walmart tanking even after reporting? So here's the thing with Walmart. So for those of you that follow the stocks, Walmart reported today, before the market opened, and they had really good earnings. They were positive. Let me see. Where's Walmart? I always lose it. I need to rearrange my list. So Walmart. I know it's somewhere there, but I didn't see it, so I'm just gonna reset it. So Walmart reported good earnings. Let's see, what was the so they reported 165 billion, and it was estimated 165 billion point 62. So they missed by very very little, by about probably 100 million, which for a company like Walmart, that's not a lot. So the earnings were not bad. They weren't surprising, but they were not bad. On the EPS, let's see, EPS estimated, they reported 61, and it was estimated at 58 cents. So they beat they beat EPS, the earnings per share, and they also beat the revenue. So they did pretty good on the earnings. The thing that pulled Walmart down is the guidance. So if you guys are familiar with the earnings reports, there are a couple of important parts to earnings. One is the earnings, how much money the company made, and the other one is the guidance. And sometimes the guidance is more important than the earnings, because there are some companies that have shitty guidance, like Tesla. Tesla had horrible earnings. I mean, they lost revenue, they lost EPS, they're not selling cars, but the guidance was good. So even though the earnings were crap, the guidance pumped the stock up. And I mean, if you guys have seen Tesla, it's like it's gone up like 25% in the last week, which it's nuts for a company that should be bringing or creating a lot of revenue, and for it to had that, those bad reports and still go up, it's nuts to me. So anyways, Walmart reported good earnings, but the guidance was pretty bad, because they predicted that prices are going to go up, and they're going to pass on those prices onto the consumers because of the tariffs. They said we haven't seen the reflection of the tariffs yet on products that Walmart sells, but they mentioned that we will see them in about a month, and they will increase their prices. So that's pretty much what sent the stock down. And I think it hit 90. Did it hit 90? No, it hit about 90 91 today. I like Walmart. I mean, Walmart is one of those stocks that I told you that are not going anywhere, and people are always gonna need Walmart, right? You're not always gonna need Meta, but you're always gonna need Walmart because you go grocery shopping, you go get your clothes there, and people are always gonna need Walmart. So Walmart is one of those companies that will stay here even when we're gone. Um, but I still think it's a little bit on the expensive side. If it was me and I was trying to get into Walmart, I would probably wait for it to drop somewhere around, like $87. Let it touch maybe the 200 SMA, and then I could get into some calls on Walmart. So yeah, so those are my thoughts on Walmart. I would buy it at like 87, $88 and get some shares there, but not right now. I mean, it touched 91, but it went back up to 96. So if you get Walmart at 96, the record high is about 105. So your margin is like $10, and for the Walmart to go up to 105, I mean, it's probably not gonna happen anytime soon. So yeah, so you'll be risking a lot, just for $10. I don't know. So I would think about that twice. Um, see, can you see? I'm trying to keep up with the comments, guys. I need to read them a little bit faster and not elaborate as much on my answers. So I'll try to do that to get through all the comments. But I appreciate it again, and I appreciate if you guys give me a like to the live. I really really would appreciate that, and continue. Keep the comments coming. What tip would you give? Oh, so I read that one. See, sound. Do you mean Soundhound? This is just justo. Are you talking about Soundhound? Isn't that like the AI company? I was looking at this. Yeah, Soundhound AI. Man, what can I tell you about Soundhound AI? I was looking at this company for a little bit. You know, the thing with this type of company, I mean, look at where it was. Back in December 2024, it was at $24. Right now, it's trading at 11. Um, these type of companies are a lot of speculation. These are the type of company that you invest in if you don't mind losing the money. You know, because it's a lot of a gamble. You put your money in, you don't know where the company is gonna go. You don't know, what kind of reports they're gonna give. Um, and right now they're facing a lawsuit. So when a company has problems like that and it's not a very reliable company, you're kind of just betting. In the stock market, at least from my point of view, is not about betting. It's about trying to be as educated as possible when you enter into a position and when you get out of a position, and trying to be safe. That's how I play it. I've learned my lesson the first couple years. The first couple years I was just looking at stocks going up and down, and then trying to buy one when it went down, hoping that it would go back up. And I had no freaking idea what I was doing. I was just buying the dip. Supposedly that was my thinking, but I was just losing money, for the first couple of years. So take it uh, from someone who's lost a lot of money, the first couple of years. Um, Luckily, I never gave up, and I learned to do things the right way and to invest in stocks that are not gonna let me lose sleep at night. Let's put it that way. If you invest $1,000 in this stock and you are thinking about it at night, then you're doing the things wrong. You're not doing the right things. So that's all I'm gonna say. If it doesn't let you lose sleep, then by all means, man, do it. But if you buy a stock and you're thinking about it at night before you go to bed, and you're thinking about it when you get up and you wake up, then that means that there's something you're not doing right. if you put money into a stock and you sleep like a baby, then that's the right stock. Let's see. What do you think about? Jeez. Let me go through this. What do you think happens when the 90-day tariff pause is over? So, Spider, if the 90-day tariff pause is over and there are no deals, then the market is gonna it's gonna dump. It's gonna dump possibly to the lowest level where it was a couple of weeks ago, or even lower. Just because when they had the when the market dropped to record lows, about 20, the S&P 500 lost about 25%. So just to show you, right there. So it went from like 613 all the way to 486. That is, at that level with more than 20%, is what we know as a bear market. When it crosses the 20% drop, that is when we start calling it a bear market. When it just drops 10%, we call it a correction. But once it crosses that 20% drop, it's known as a bear market. So the stock market was very close to a bear market, and it's amazing that it recovers so fast. It's never happened. It's never happened that it recovers. It always recovers, but usually it takes several months or sometimes years. In this case, it took 2 weeks to recover. Never seen before. So if the 90-day tariffs they don't get to a deal before that 90-day close, the market is gonna tank. It's gonna drop more than 20%, and it's just gonna go from there. It's gonna enter into a bear market. Again, just because before they announced the pause, we knew China and the United States were gonna talk. We knew that. So that's why the market probably stopped at about 20-25% drop, because they knew sooner or later China was going to have to deal with the United States, or the United States was going to have to deal with China. So that's the reason why the market didn't drop more than 25%. And that was a pretty bad drop. But if the tariffs, the deal with the tariffs doesn't plan out, then now the market knows for sure that there are no more deals, right? So if it's gone and nothing changed, and China didn't want to deal with the U.S. and they didn't want to give in, and the U.S. is not having it, then now the market knows that there are no more chances, no more opportunities to get a deal done. So then the market is going to tank. So because we'll be back to ground zero, and worse, because now we know that there's no future talks. So that's what I believe will happen. I hope it doesn't get to that point. If it does, I'm gonna try to buy the dip, get some cash heavy, start to sell positions, and then see what happens. So, good advice, by the way. Thank you, man. I appreciate it. That's what I'm here for. I try to give you as much knowledge as I can. What I don't know, because I don't know everything, I ask my mentor, then I learn it, and then I share it with you guys. So. I'm in a group where with a lot of experienced traders. Like I said earlier, we talk about the market before the market opens. We read the news. We see what potentially could happen during the day, and then we prepare ourselves to enter into positions, or to not enter into positions if the market is choppy. And like I said, I'm a swing trader, so if I already bought some stock, I'm probably not gonna buy anything until I sell the stock I have. Unless there's a dip, then I down cost average what I buy. But I don't sell or buy and sell every day. So thank you, Alien, for the comment. Appreciate it. And if you guys can help me with tapping the screen, I really appreciate it. I already got to 1,000 likes, so I wanna. My goal is to try to get to around 2,000. Likes for the day. So if you guys can help me get to that goal, that'll be awesome. Is it time for Nvidia dip, Sanchez? Let's see. So I don't know, man. I really don't think so. I think it's gonna pull back because it has been running for, let's see, ever since they announced the deal with China, which was on Monday, I want to say. Let's see. So Monday the 12th. So when they announced the deals with China, I mean, you can see here. Let me make this bigger. You see this little gap here, which I need to enter a box there so that I know there's a gap. See the little gap here? So when they announced the deal with China, Nvidia jumped, and from closing to 118, it jumped to 120. It broke the resistance of 120, went to 122. The next day made another jump because not only there were good news on China, but there were also good news about Saudi Arabia buying some chips from Nvidia. So it jumped again. So it left another gap right here. Draw another box there. And with that jump, as you can see, it made Nvidia go above the 200-day moving average on the daily chart. So those big jumps, um, push Nvidia to move past the resistance or resistances, and because Nvidia has had really good news, I don't really see a dip unless there are bad news, unless they announce that the restrictions on Nvidia, because like I mentioned earlier, the Biden administration had a lot of restrictions on Nvidia, so they couldn't sell to certain countries, and Trump is trying to remove those restrictions so that Nvidia can sell to Saudi Arabia and all of these other countries and the Middle East, and that is pumping the stock because they know that when earnings come, Nvidia is gonna give a good guidance because they know that they're gonna sell even more chips. I mean, last reports, Jensen Huang, which is the CEO of Nvidia, he said that they were already they did not have enough chips to supply all of their buyers because I mean the buyers, they just kept putting in orders for the Blackwell chip, which is their latest Nvidia chip, and so they could not keep up with the demand. So now imagine on the next call, the next earnings, which is May 28th, a couple weeks from now, if they say that now they're gonna generate this much money from this deal with Saudi Arabia, that's just gonna keep pumping the market. So there are no bad news on Nvidia right now. So I don't think Nvidia is gonna dip. If anything, it'll make a correction, which is normal. It's a healthy thing for Nvidia to happen, and the correction could happen somewhere around 129, 130, possibly, or hit the 200 SMA at 125, 126, and then from there just bounce back again and try to break that resistance at 135, which it's been struggling there. So if you see the past couple of days, it hit 135, it went down, it hit 135, it went down again. Tomorrow, I really don't think it's gonna break it unless there are good news that pump the stock. So yeah, so that's what I think about Nvidia. I don't think it's gonna dip anytime soon. I really hope you can check Sound. I called a big move Friday and I went up 40% before selling off. Justo, are you talking about Sound AI? Um, that's the one I just checked. I don't know if that's the same one we're talking about. Give me the ticker symbol. I think you say Sound, so I think that's the one I checked. Sound, yeah. So yeah, so this is the one, and you said you sold your stock. So I mean that's great, man. Like I said, it's not a bad idea to invest in these kind of stocks. I just personally don't do it. I do it on reliable stocks that have been here for a very long time and that I know will continue to be here when I'm gone. Sound Soundhound Soundhound AI. I don't know, man. This stock, I think, I don't know much about the history of this stock. I don't think it has been here for that long, so I don't trust it. And because it has had this kind of move where it was at $24 back in December and it just took a dip, it hasn't been able to recover ever since. I don't know. So I don't really trust it. But that's just me. If you trust it and you can get some money out of it, by all means. But I try to rely on stocks that I know, again, I know are reliable. I know they're strong. I know they've been here for many years. So that's what I like to trade the most. Um, what is Sound, if you don't mind me asking? It's an AI company. So like after AI came out, and I know AI is the future, but after Nvidia started releasing some chips, a lot of companies wanted to create their own AI systems, and it's just one of those AI companies. You say, oh yeah, I just saw that. Yep, exactly. Thank you, Justo. Thank you for the question. Answer my question, Mikey. What is it? I got 600. Should I do options or shares? I don't do options, Mikey, just because I like to protect my capital. I'm not. My education is on buying and selling stocks, so I don't do options. I wouldn't be able to tell you if options are better. I know in the group where I am, there's a guy and he's an expert in options and he makes a lot of money doing options. I just haven't been able to learn how to do it the right way, how to do it the way he does. For now, I like to just stay focused. It's just buying and selling stocks. So if you ask me about stocks, buying and selling, I can give you, what I think about it. But just options, I wouldn't be able to tell you, to be honest, because I don't do options. So if you have 600, depends, Mikey. Are you planning to just you know sell it in a week or in a month, or are you planning to do it the long term? It depends on your goals. So if you can share that, maybe I can give you a little bit of a better answer. Manipulation at its finest. Manipulation for what stock, Luis? Thank you for being here, Luis. By the way, Mikey, he's trying to get to everybody, but options makes more money if that helps. Oh, yeah, justo, exactly, man. Thank you, appreciate that comment. Um, Options make more money, but maybe justo can corroborate on that. Makes more money, but it's also more risky. So with options comes the responsibility of losing a lot of money, and I'm just not into that. So can people live solely of stocks, or is it just another source of revenue? Wayne, I'm gonna call Wayne. Um, it depends, man. So if you invest for the long term, this is my plan, right? I'm investing for the long term. My goal is that in 10 years, I don't have to work anymore because there will be a good amount in my long term portfolio. More specifically, I'll have a lot of shares of this stock here, which is the S&P 500, the 500 most powerful companies in the United States. Now, this stock, on average, pays about 10% every year. So imagine, and this is again, this is my goal. In 10 years, if I have $1 million in the S&P 500, which is my goal, well, my goal is to have more, but let's say I reach my first step, which is to have $1 million in the S&P 500. If it makes me 10% of a million, it's 100,000. So I mean, 100,000 for me is good to live a decent life. I can, if my house is paid off and I have no other debt, 100,000, I think it's good money to live comfortably. Would I only do that and depend on that money? Probably not. I would probably keep doing the swing trading. I might do something else on the side. I don't know. But to answer your question, yes, you could totally live off the interest that you generate every year from having money exposed to the S&P 500 and to those ETFs that give you an average of about 10% every year. Some years they give you more, like the S&P 500 last year paid off I think about 25%. So imagine if you had $1 million, you made $250 without moving a finger. The year before that, 2023, the S&P 500 paid about 23%. So again, if you had a million, you got paid $230,000 for just leaving your money in there. So could you leave off $230,000? Depends on your situation. Um, let's see. So I hope I answer your question, man. SMA, Chris, SMA, yes. So I use three SMAs. I use the 20-day moving average, the 50-day moving average, and the 200-day moving average, which is what most pros in the stock market use. I'm not a pro, not close. I My plan is to get to that point in a couple years, because, like I mentioned, I still have a mentor. I still learn every day, and once I'm a pro, then I could tell you, I'm a professional. I don't do this for a living. I don't do this. I'm not watching the stocks from the time they open to the time they close, because I have a daily job. I'm a teacher at a high school, so I just do that, until I can get enough money into my long-term portfolio so that I can retire off of that money. Which, like I mentioned earlier, my plan is to do it in the next 10 years. Um, what are your thoughts on Rivian? Somebody asked me about Rivian yesterday, and I gave him my honest opinion. Rivian has been struggling for the past years. I mean, if you look at the stock, let's take a look at the stock. Where it was a few years ago. Let me look at the weekly chart. So take a look at Rivian, man. I mean, Rivian was a stock that, phew, look at the highs of $179. I mean, you could see, if I do this. I mean, I don't have to tell you much. You see the downtrend. You see the downtrend is pretty clear. For me to put my money on something that is speculation, because I really don't think it's gonna recover that level of $174. It's been very choppy for the past 2-3 years. If I Let's see, if I click on the daily, I mean, you can see here, how choppy it has been. And when I say choppy, it means that it goes down and it goes up and it stays at this within the same range for a long time. So as you guys can see here, I mean, it's hit about $10, and the max is about $15, and then it goes back down. I know they are getting a lot of support from Volkswagen, and that's why the market hasn't dumped, just because they have Volkswagen as a backup. Volkswagen is injecting revenue into Rivian, but Rivian has a lot of competition. I mean, Ford is having electric cars, because Rivian, that's what it does. They do electric cars. They make electric cars, but Ford is making electric cars. Chevrolet is now making electric cars. Honda is making electric cars. Toyota, Tesla. I mean, they're competing against Tesla. Tesla is number one because they not only sell cars, but they are selling robots, or they will be selling robots. They will be selling their robo taxi, and they're innovating every year, because they're gonna come up with all of this stuff. I don't know. I mean, Tesla tends to not deliver on their promises, but they have good plans for the future. Rivian is just making cars. They're just making cars. So they're not making robots. They're not making self-driving cars. Like the robo taxi. So it's tough for me to be able to put money into Rivian, because it's been choppy for a very long time, and then on top of that, they're not innovating. So yeah. So those are my thoughts on Rivian. So I hope that helps a little bit. What do you think about FNGR should boom soon? I don't know what that is. Check it out. FNGR. FNGR. Finger. It even sounds funny, man. Finger motion. What does that do? Let's see. I mean, it sounds funny. Finger motion. Is this like one of those like AI companies, small AI companies? Technology. It's a technology company. I'm not sure what it does, man. I'm not familiar with this company, but I can tell you from the technicals, and if that's interesting to you. So it is pumping. So it was at about $7 back in September 23. it dropped, and it was the lowest at a $1. I mean, when I see a stock, and this is just my analysis, you can make your own conclusions. But when I see a stock go from $1 to like $4 5 in a very short period, just as this stock went up in a short period of time, it's gonna go back down in a short period of time. You know, if it took 10 days to get to this price, it's probably gonna take 1 day to drop back all the way to $1. You know, it might still pump, but I mean, what are the fundamentals of this company? What are they making? Are they gonna be an AI? Are they gonna partner up with Nvidia? Are they going to be part of the S&P 500? What's the future for this company? If this company is not offering me a secure spot in the future, what I'm doing with my money is just betting. You know, it's just like I'm going to the casino and I'm playing the roulette and I'm throwing the little ball or whatever that game is called. I think it's called the roulette. I'm throwing the ball and hoping that it lands on black. You know, I'm betting all on 7 black. If it does, I'm gonna be happy. If it doesn't, you know, I'm probably gonna regret it because that's what probably you're doing with this stock. You know, you're just betting. So, but that's just my opinion, man. I mean, if you feel like you can do it, I'm just here to tell you what I would do. What I do with stocks, I bet on stocks that have a lot of fundamentals, that have a lot of plans for the future. I don't like to gamble with my money, because it takes me a long time to earn good money, and I'm not willing to lose it on a bet like this. So thank you. Yeah. And again, thank you guys for being here in the live. If you guys can help me with tapping the screen, that'll be great. We already got past the 3,000 likes, so my next goal is to get to 5,000. If I get to 5,000 before the end of the night, that'll be awesome. That'll be probably my highest liked live. So I appreciate you guys being here. I hope I can give you some sort of insight, and you guys can pick my brain, and I can bounce off ideas with you guys. So I really appreciate you guys being here tonight. Let's see. Justo, follow the host. I appreciate it, Justo. Thank you for the follow, man. I hope I can see you here, on the lives, and you can give me some more of that insight that you had earlier. Always buy crossing the 20-day average. Yeah, I mean, that could be a good strategy. I know a lot of people do that. I prefer to use the RSI, and the RSI indicates when a stock is oversold or overbought. So I like to use that as a measure, to know when to enter and when to exit. As you guys can see, Nvidia right now is getting to that point on the day that is oversold. In the 4 hour chart, it's already oversold. That's why it's kind of like being choppy. Tomorrow, I don't expect Nvidia to move up. I expect Nvidia to either stay where it is or maybe pull back a little bit. So depends on the news. Jose Velasquez, gracias, gracias Jose. Thank you for the follow. Appreciate it. Tracochona, gracias por el gato. Thank you for the little cat. Appreciate it. Se traba mucho la transmisión. Oh man, don't tell me that. If you guys see the live a little choppy or a little laggy, let me know. I might be able to adjust a couple settings. So let me know. Bullish on this one, chat. Bullish on what, Israel? Let me know. There's only one way to go now. Hymns, Damien. So I know I remember I checked that yesterday. Let's see. Where is hymns? Hymns right here. Okay, let's take a look at it right there. So hymns, I know during let's look at the daily. I like to look at the daily. So always when I analyze stocks, I always like to look at the daily chart, just because that gives me a very broad idea. Daily and weekly. If something is not clear on the daily, or there's a lot of noise, I like to look at the weekly, but daily is like uh, my main go-to. Hymns. Let's take a look at hymns. So hymns. So here's the thing. Who asked me that? That was Damien KC. Take a look at this, Damien, and you tell me what you think. Right? This is my opinion. When stocks move away from the SMAs, like far up in the air, far away from the SMAs, I don't enter into positions. I don't, because as you can see here in the past, the history will tell you. Here in this little section, hymns was at about $70, but it was very far away from the 20 SMA, the 50 SMA, and the 200 SMA. So check out what happened. I don't know if they had bad news. They had bad earnings. So according to this, they lost on EPS. Yeah, they lost on EPS. But I don't think that's what sent the stock down. It was probably just way oversold. And because it was very far away from the SMAs, I wouldn't have entered into a position here. I would have waited for the stock to either hit and reclaim the 20 or the 50, and then maybe enter into some positions. In this case, it hit all the way to the 200, and then it pumped back up, and now it's doing the same thing. So you see it? So you're up here, very far away from the SMAs. I would wait for a pullback. I don't know if it's gonna hit the 200, because unless there are really bad news on tariffs and the macro economy, then it might hit again the 200. But I would not enter into a position like that, because it's already way up there in far away from the SMAs, and it's also on the RSI. It's way oversold. See that? And now it's starting to pull back. So yeah. So that's my opinion on HIMS. So Damian KC, thank you for the follow, man. So I hope I was able to share some information about HIMS. See Russia. What about Holo? I don't know what that is. Holo. Is that crypto? I'm not familiar with that stock. Adrian, RTX. That sounds like crypto. I don't really do crypto. See, what is RTX? RTX, electronic, aerospace, and defense. So it's a defense stock. Defense right now, it's doing pretty good. They had really good news, and I mean you could see the stock pumping. They had good news on Saudi Arabia a couple days ago. I think it was yesterday or the day before, that they closed some deals with the United States on a 1.3 trillion dollar deal, and part of that deal was to invest more in defense. So Saudi Arabia, sorry, Saudi Arabia wants to buy some technology from the United States, and part of that technology is a lot of stuff that has to do with defense. So all of the defense companies, including Palantir, which Palantir has gone crazy, they've been pumping because of those news that Saudi Arabia is going to be buying a lot of technology from the U.S. that has to do with defense, drones and stuff like that. So that's the reason why this stock has been pumping. It doesn't look bad on the technicals. The news are good. The technicals are not bad. Let's see on the weekly. Just want to make sure. It looks like it looks like a healthy stock. None of those stocks that go up crazy and dump crazy. I don't see any of that in this stock. So it's been having some pullbacks, and then recovers. Right now, I mean, the only thing that I could tell you about RTX is that it is at all-time highs. It is hitting that resistance at 135, which is what the resistance back in March. It already hit it twice, or actually a couple times. So, the only way for stocks to break resistance is to either get really good news, like a deal, like the Saudi Arabia deal. They need something similar to that to break that resistance, and then retest it, and then maybe keep going up. So if you're planning to buy now, if it was me, I would wait and play it like this, right? If I was planning to do to buy this stock, I would wait for this stock to maybe break resistance somewhere, after 135, and then go back, retest that resistance, which now becomes support, as you guys know, and then from here, wait for the stock to hit that, and as soon as it starts moving, then I get some shares here. That's what I would do with this kind of stock, because I don't know if it's really gonna break resistance. It already rejected that once. It went all the way down to 112, so I would not play until I see resistance become support, and then from there shoot up. So I hope that helps, Rolo, or who was it? Somebody asked me about that one. Let's see. I'm trying to get out to all the comments, guys. So I appreciate you guys being here. If you guys can help me with liking the live, that'll be great. I'm breaking all records. My record was to try to get to 5,000. I'm at 6,000 likes right now, so I really appreciate that. That looks really good. If I can get to 10,000 before I leave tonight, that'll be awesome. So that'll give me a good feeling about doing these kind of lives from around 9 p.m. Because I live in the Pacific area, so 9 p.m. to about 11. That'll be my time frame to talk to you guys. So if you guys can give me a like, I really appreciate it. If you guys share the live, that'll be also appreciated as well. Let's see. So Adrian, so I hope I was able to answer your question about RTX. Chris, Robinhood says is mobile data solutions company out of Singapore. FNGR. Oh, okay. Yeah, maybe. I don't. No, I did see it. Yeah, I did see it here. So out of Singapore, yeah. So, I already talked about this stock. So when it's a stock that I don't know and I'm gonna gamble, I just don't do it. See, Rasha follow the host. I appreciate it, Rasha. Thank you for the follow. Damien, him, I already answered that. So thank you for that question. Rasha, Holo. What is Holo? I'm getting familiar with a lot of these stocks, guys. But like I said, I try to follow stocks that have a lot of fundamentals, not stocks that are based on speculation. So that's why a lot of these I probably don't know. Semiconductors. So it's a semiconductor company. It's probably been pumping since. Let's see. Oh man, microcloud hologram. This looks pretty bad. I hope. I don't know if you're in that position in this stock, but just keep doing that. Just take a look, to where this stock was in September 2022. I have no idea why this stock dropped so much. Right now it's trading at $6, and it was, according to this, it was at 220,000. That doesn't seem right. But man, look at this. Look at when you guys look at charts, okay? And this is just pure advice. This is something I learned from the person from my group. When you see this kind of crap where the stock is trading at a low amount, and then it pumps, and then it dumps, and then it pumps, and then it dumps, why would you do that to yourself? Why would you like the adrenaline of losing your money? Because you're gonna lose your money. It might give you 1,000, but what's the point if you're gonna lose 2,000? And that's what happens with this kind of stocks. You get the adrenaline of, oh, I earned $1,000. I'm good at this. I like this stock, and then the stock takes away the gains and more. And then you're like, oh man, why did I do that? I should have gotten out because I had already $1,000 in my pocket. That's what this kind of stock does to you. I've done it. I've lived through it. I've lost sleep over stocks like this, and I don't like to put myself in those kind of positions. So So if you're looking at this for a trade, hoping that the stock goes up like it has done in the past, I mean, you're gambling, man. And this is Russia, yeah. You're gambling with your money. So if it's money that you don't care losing, by all means, give it a try and see if it maybe pays off. So good luck to you, man. I hope you don't lose the money, but that's what the stock does. Yo, what's good, Ryan? Ryan, thank you for being here, man. I mean, you were one of my first followers, so I appreciate it. Thank you for being here in the live. Killing a spy. Spy is looking pretty good. It closed at 590, which is one of the resistances. As you can see here, I already have it, drawn because I don't trade the stock. I invest in this stock. So whenever there's a dip, I like to keep putting my money into the S&P 500. So it's looking pretty good. If it tomorrow maintains and reclaims the 590, it has room to go all the way to 595, 597, as you can see here, and maybe trade within that range. Unless there are good news in the stock, then it has room to go all the way to 600. So that's where SPY is right now. See, I'm trying to get it to all the comments, guys. Hope I can do this really quick. Let's see. How about open? Open what? Amia. Open, like, is that a stock? Is that a ticker symbol for a stock? I can't tell. You said, how about open? SoFi. I think SoFi dropped today, if I'm not mistaken. I was taking a look at the stocks earlier, and yeah, it dropped. So SoFi has a resistance at around $15, so 14.80 to 15, and clearly it rejected the resistance. So as you can see here, as soon as it hit 14.80, I already had this. So as soon as it hit 14.80, it just dropped yesterday, and then today again, just because it had been pumping, for a couple of days. So it was tend to take a little pullback. There are no bad news about SoFi, so I wouldn't worry about anything bad with the stock. There's nothing wrong with the stock. It's just normal pullbacks. They happen, and that's healthy for the stock. So SoFi doing pretty good. Meta, interesting, 2% drop last 20 to 30 minutes of market today. I think I read something about Meta earlier. I don't know if it was, see, oh, delay. There you go. So that's what I read. That there's some kind of delay on a product that they were releasing, and that's why it dropped. So any kind of news that a stock receives when it's pumping, or when it's been pumping, a lot for the past couple of days, any bad news is gonna make the stock drop. So if the stock was not pumping, bad news like this wouldn't really affect it much. I mean, it would make it drop, but definitely not, to the point it got, which is 2.3%, which is what it lost today. So yeah. So Drew, that's what happened, man. It's a delay on its AI model rollout. So I think they were planning to release it sometime in the fall, and now it's going to be delayed. So that's what affected the stock today. And that's for Meta. Russia holographic stock. Yeah, that's the one I took a look at. Bitcoin, do you think breaks out to Atlas liquidity sub? So SM, to be honest with you, and this is for everyone who's here in the live, if you guys plan or are doing currently stocks and do crypto, I stay away from crypto. I'll tell you really quick why. So crypto is just based on how much somebody else is willing to pay for what you buy. So if I buy crypto at 100,000, which is, I think that's where it is right now. I don't really follow that, Bitcoin, but see, Bitcoin. I don't even have the ticker symbol for that. I don't even have it. What is the ticker symbol for Bitcoin? See, that's how much I really don't care about Bitcoin. anyways, I don't know what the ticker symbol is for Bitcoin, but um, what was I saying? I was saying that I don't trade it because for me to be able to sell Bitcoin to somebody else has to be willing to pay for it, and there are no fundamentals. So there's no uh, plans for the future for Bitcoin. Bitcoin is not going to release any new product. Bitcoin doesn't sell anything. Um, Bitcoin doesn't have earnings. So I don't know where Bitcoin is going to go. Bitcoin could go to a million. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's what people speculate it's going to happen because it went from like $1 back in 2010 to now 100,000. But nothing guarantees um, that it's gonna get to $1 million. I mean, a lot of people speculate that's gonna happen. It may happen. And if you guys are in Bitcoin, I wish you the best, and I hope that you make a couple million there. But nothing guarantees. If you didn't buy with speculation money back in 2010, and you bought, I don't know, 100 Bitcoin back in 2010, then you already kind of missed your chance because now everybody's talking about it and everyone wants to invest in Bitcoin. And when that happens, the stocks get overbought. And guess what happens with institutions? When they see the stock being overbought, they sell. And then everyone who, like you and I, the retail traders, when the institutions see that a lot of the retail traders, they just bought into the stock, guess what? They're gonna take profits. So they're gonna sell their Bitcoin and they're gonna leave you up there. If you bought at 100,000 and Bitcoin goes down to 70,000, I mean, these companies made a lot of money off of your back. So that's why I don't really mess with Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrency. And don't take it from me. You guys know who Warren Buffett is? Expert and legend in the stock market. He said one time that he would not buy Bitcoin if it was offered to him for $1. And you're talking about the one of the best investors, if not the best, in the stock market. He said, if they offered me, and I'm just quoting what he said, if they offered me Bitcoin at $1, I would not buy it because I would have to find somebody else to pay me $1 so that I could sell in Bitcoin. You know, so if he said that, and you're still obsessed with Bitcoin because you think it's gonna go to a million, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. Like I said, if you bought in 2010 with speculation money, $1,000, $2,000 that you didn't mind losing, and now you're a millionaire, great for you, awesome job, because nobody thought that Bitcoin would get to that point, and you did, and you made the money. But now I think it's kind of like too late, too late to get into that. So SPY, so I already talked about SPY. I said it's in a good place. It's got resistance at it closed at 590 and it's got resistance at 596. So if tomorrow there are good news, it might get there. It has another resistance at 600, and then from there is the all-time high, which is around 610. So, but we have to have good news about it. I think we're due for a pullback, and the resistance, the support down is at about 574, and it has a gap. So if you guys can see here, this purple rectangle, let me make it a little bigger. This purple rectangle is a gap, which means that a SPY closed at about 569 one day, and it opened at 577. So it left a gap, and typically gaps tend to be filled. So so just be careful with that. If SPY drops and it hits that gap, it's probably gonna fill it, and then from there, if the good news continue, it's just gonna bounce back again. El Güero follow. Güero, thank you for the follow. Julie, hi Julie. Hope you were able to receive my email with the book about trading. And like I mentioned, that's a good start to start reading. Read it at your own pace. It has really good examples, and it helped me a lot when I started. So I would recommend you read through it, understand the terminology mainly, and then we can talk about it during the lives. So Chris, thank you for the gift, man. Tlacochona, thank you for the gift. Popular, awesome. Damien, awesome. Thank you for the rose. Appreciate it. I don't see it on my screen because I'm looking at I'm in my computer, so I don't see when the gifts pop up. So if it takes me a little bit to thank you for the gift, just I see it on the chat though. So thank you guys for being here on the live, and help me again with the taps, with the likes on the live. We're at 7,000 likes, and my goal is to get to 10,000 so I can get out of here. So that's my goal for today's live. 10,000 likes, and I appreciate again everyone who's here, everyone who's following me. Again, I'm here just to talk about stocks, to try to give you a little bit of guidance if you're planning to get into the stock, or you're trying to figure out what to do tomorrow in the stock market. So, Damian, let's see. Moni, thank you for the follow. Mr. 100 plus, again, appreciate it. How Hoys, follow, thank you again, appreciate it. And I got some videos. I'm starting to create some videos and put them on my profile in TikTok. I started with some videos in Spanish, but I do have a couple of videos in English that I'm creating. So every day in the morning, I'm gonna be creating some videos with the news for the day, so that way you guys can see what to expect for the day off. So usually I would update that early in the morning. As soon as I get the news, I make the video, and you guys will get that. If you had 50K today, Damien, Meta. So let me answer that first. Meta, like I mentioned it earlier. Daman, is it Daman or Damien? Daman, probably Daman. Daman. Meta had bad news at the end of closing today. They announced a delay of their AI model, and because of this bad news, the stock dropped from like 654 to like 643. Tomorrow, I expect the stock to continue to drop just because of these news. Typically, when a stock drops this way, and then you're also seeing the candle pattern closing below the green candle here, that gives you a big hint that that probably the next day is going to continue to drop. It's got bad news. It's got momentum down. So tomorrow it's probably gonna drop a little bit more. We'll talk about it tomorrow at night and see where it ended. But my gut tells me, based on the technicals, that it's gonna drop a little bit more tomorrow. If you had 50K today, what would you throw it into? Captain Siambo, if it was me, I would put it into the S&P 500, the stock that has the 500 best companies in the United States, because even if I bought, let's say, a 590, which it's already pretty high, it's almost at record time highs, but even if I bought it at this price, if I'm not going to cash out until 5-10 years from now, it's not gonna matter, because the stock, the S&P 500 has 100% time recovery, and it has an average of paying you back 10% every year. So even if I buy it at 590 and let's say it drops at 550, or what was the lowest a couple weeks ago, 484. Even if it dropped to 484, this stock is going to recover because it has a history of 100% recovery rate. Okay, it might take a year, it might take 2 years, but this stock always recovers. If I give you just a quick glimpse, right, on the monthly chart, and this is for, if we look at years, let's say you were here, it was right here, it was November 1995. Can you see this stock, taking some dips but always recovering, taking some dips, always recovering, dip, recover, dip, recover. Here we had the if you guys, all of you might remember, or I'm sure you remember COVID. COVID hit, the stock market crashed, but it recovered. It dropped again with the tariffs. It's gonna recover, and it always breaks the all-time high. So right now the all-time high is at about 615. I don't know if it'll do it this year. Depends on how the tariffs and the deals with other countries close before the end of the year. If we have good news on that, it might break all-time highs and keep going up. So that's what I would do if I had 50K. Just put into the S&P 500, something that is going to guarantee my money. with an XRP, please. Sahid, I don't really do crypto. I know XRP is a cryptocurrency. I mentioned it earlier, and I talked about why is it that I don't do it, because there are no fundamentals with crypto. It's just pure speculation. Just trying to hope that if it goes down, hoping that it goes up. So, uh, and besides, just again, this is for everyone who's here. If you guys, again, if you guys can help me with the liking the live, I really appreciate it. I'm trying to get now to 10,000 likes before I leave. So I'm gonna work hard for those 10,000 likes. So if you guys can help me with that, that'll be great. If you can share the live, also that'll be awesome. So help me out with those taps. Um, I'm gonna tell you something for everyone here in the live, and I hope that this can give you a little bit of advice. Okay, and this is in regards to crypto. Cryptocurrency, as you guys know, is a market that is open 24/7. Okay, so right now, if you look at crypto, it's moving up, it's moving down. If you're looking at Bitcoin, it's moving up, it's moving down. So you're trading 24/7. Now you tell me, if you guys buy Bitcoin, are you gonna be trading at 12 at night, hoping that the stock goes up so you can sell it? Are you gonna be trading Bitcoin at 3 in the morning or XRP? Okay, are you gonna lose sleep just because you want to make a few bucks on Dogecoin? Okay. Now, if the answer is yes, you'd rather have inconsistency or not be consistent with your sleep and not be able to rest because you're trying to trade and make a couple bucks doing crypto. By all means, I mean, you do it. I don't. I don't. I like to sleep like a baby, knowing that my money is invested in something good, in something that I know might take maybe a couple weeks, but it will pay me. Something that I know that even if it dips, it's gonna recover. I gave the example of the S&P 500. I know that if I put 50K, like one of you guys mentioned, what would you do if you have 50K? If I put 50K into S&P 500, I would sleep like a baby, even if it drops 100 or 200 bucks, because I know that this stock is gonna recover. Now, if I put 50K into XRP, do I know if this stock is gonna recover? I have no clue. There is no history. There are no fundamentals. XRP doesn't sell anything. XRP doesn't generate any revenue. So I hope that you guys can use that little thought and help you in the decisions that you make in the future. If you do XRP and you do crypto, I mean, by all means, do it. But I wish you the best of luck. I just don't do it and don't mess around with that. STI stock. What is STI? And this is for how hois. STI. Let's see. STI. STI, is that Solidon or Solidion technology? Is that what it is? Um, that's what I can see is part of the Nasdaq. I'm gonna check that one. I don't know if that's the one you mean. I mean, I mean, if this is the one you mean, man, it's not looking great. It's a stock that it just dumped from like 434 bucks to what is it right now? $3. So I mean, you make your own conclusion. I don't know if this is the one you're talking about. If it is, I mean, why would you put your money into something that just dropped from 400 bucks to 3, hoping that it could go back to 300? Again, hoping is gambling. If you guys are in the stock market and you want to do things right, the right way, you don't gamble. If you want to gamble and make money, go to Vegas, go to the casino, right, and throw $10,000 into the roulette or into blackjack, and hope that you get some profits. That's what you're doing with stocks like this. You're throwing your money into a stock like this, hoping that it goes back up to 300. And even if it does, even if, let's say, and I'm gonna give you a great example. I hope you appreciate this example, and this example helps me get to that 10,000 likes. Okay, and I really like it. So if you throw, let's say, $10,000, or let's put a small amount, you put $1,000 into this stock, and you buy it at $3. Let's say it goes to 10, you triple your money. So those $1,000 turn into 3,000. You're gonna be happy. You're gonna be saying, "Yes, I made $3,000." But a little voice here in the back of your head, you know what that voice is gonna tell you? It's gonna tell you, "You did great. You made $3,000. You might think you're a genius, but you have no fucking idea what you're doing. You made money and you don't know how you made money." That's what you're gonna hear. That's exactly, I've been there. I've done that. Okay. That's exactly what's gonna happen when you invest in stocks like this. Okay. You're gonna be happy, but a voice inside your head is gonna tell you you have no clue what you're doing. You made money, which is great, but you did it and you didn't even know how. You don't know how you made the money. Okay. So I hope that helps. And I'm not trying to offend anyone. I mean, if you do it, it's your money, you're gambling. I'm just trying to give you the best advice possible, advice that was given to me, that makes sense to me. And and gambling is not what you want to do with stocks. You want to make money, you want to be consistent, you want to do this for a living, you want to do this for years, you want to retire on this money. Gambling is not going to take you there. Investing in stocks like this is not going to take you there. I guarantee it 100%. It's not going to do it. It'll pay you, it'll give you some money if you gamble like this. And when you get lucky, like when you scratch the lottery tickets, you buy 10 and maybe 2 or 3 will give you a couple bucks. And then with that money, you go buy more and then you don't win. And then now you lost your money. That's exactly what's going to happen. So sorry if I'm too honest, how hoist, but I just gotta tell you what I believe, and hoping that you can make a good decision. But again, it's your decision, it's your money. You can do whatever you want. Yes, open the stock like open door. Okay, I know you asked me that earlier, so let's take a look at Open Door Technologies, Nasdaq. So it's in the Nasdaq. I mean, same thing. No, what I just told this other guy. When you look at the technicals, I mean, I look at the monthly chart, but if I look at the weekly, I mean, I'm gonna get things more clearly. This stock has been dumping for a long time, since February of 21, and I mean, it has some pumps, but it keeps making lower highs. It gets to a high, then it goes lower. It gets to a high. That high is lower than the previous one. Higher, high, low, high, low. And right now it's trading at 73 cents. Same thing. You're gambling. I mean, if you put your money into this, hoping that it goes to $1, it might go to 50 cents. If it's been dropping like this and you see this pattern of a downtrend, I mean, I don't even have to draw the line. It's pretty obvious. So, well, that's not what I meant to do. So if you see that downtrend, I mean, it hasn't even broken anything. It's just dead in the water. So guys, when you guys invest in stocks, pick stocks that will be there even when you're gone. Pick stocks that people need. The Walmarts, Walmart, you will always need Walmart. People will always need Walmart. Walmart is a big company. It has good reports. It has good earnings. Sometimes it's got bad news. Like, they just reported today and they said, well, we expect prices to rise because of the tariffs. That was bad news, made the stock drop. But that doesn't make it a bad company. The Costco. Costco is a good company. It's gonna be there. People love it. If you go to Costco, you probably love to go to Costco because it's clean, because it's got good customer service, because the prices are competitive. Every time you go, you're probably thinking, I'm gonna buy a $5 chicken, and then you come out and next thing you know, you spend $200. And you're not the only one. I mean, every single person probably does the same thing. They go with a plan to only spend $20, and they come out of the store with $200 that they spend at the store. So if people are spending that much money in Costco, that's a good company. That's a company that's going to continue to grow, and that's a company that's going to be here when we're gone. So uh, so buy those type of companies. Companies that you're betting, hoping that the company goes up. I mean, it's just gambling. So that's my thought on that company. Um, Julie, yes, I did. Thank you. So awesome. So start with that, Julie. Finish it. Again, take your time. When you don't understand something, just go back to it. Always have open something like this, which is I use TradingView, which is a really good platform for analyzing stocks. You can get the free version, and then you start looking at what you see in the book that I gave you. And everyone who's here, by the way, I yesterday in the live, a couple people asked me, I want to start trading. I'm interested. How do I start? Where do I begin? And I told them that I have a book. I'm not selling the book, and Julie can corroborate on that. I give this book for free. That's a really good book for beginners to start reading about, the candlesticks, some of the terminology in stocks. What do you have to be familiar with? How to begin? If you guys are interested in that book, I could give it to you for free. It's a PDF. I got it for free from my group because I am in a group in the morning where we share all the news. We have we call it privileged information because the mentor that we have, he pays a lot of money to get privileged information of news before they even show it on CNN. So he pays a lot of money for that, and he shares all of that with us that are in that group. So anyways, when I get those news, I share that with you guys here at night. So I lost my train of thought. I forgot what I was saying. But yeah. So if you guys are interested, I think that's where I was going. If you guys are interested in that book that was shared with me by my group, just DM me, send me a message, and I'll get your email, and then I'll send it to you and free. If you guys would like to start somewhere, that book is a really good place to start. Thoughts on the S&P tomorrow? What price? S&P, I think I mentioned it earlier. S&P has a resistance at 595. So right now it closed at 590, which is great. It has some room to go up to 595 and then possibly reject 595 and then come back. Maybe fill in this gap that you see here. So on the daily, probably see it clearly. It has a gap. So if it hits 595, it has room to go all the way down to 570 if it rejects 595. Again, it all depends on the news, on what Trump comes out and says tomorrow. I don't know if he's going to be back in the States by tomorrow yet. I know he is in the Middle East. He was at a meeting today trying to close some deals for the U.S. So if he speaks tomorrow and gives good news, it might pump the market. If not, it's just probably going to be choppy for tomorrow. And tomorrow, remember, it's Friday. Usually Fridays are pretty slow because a lot of the options expire tomorrow. So there's a lot of there's very low volume, and that makes the stock not really move. So Fridays are really not great days to trade if you guys day trade. G, follow the house. Thank you, G, for the follow. Sahid, thank you for the follow, man. And SM, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate it, guys. I'm getting a lot of follows today. So again, just another one of the motivations to kind of keep me invested in doing these lives. So appreciate the follows, appreciate the likes. We got to our goal, which was 10,000 likes. So that's my new standard. That's my new standard to try to get to 10,000 likes at least every night. So appreciate that, guys. I'm gonna answer the last few questions and then I'm gonna let you guys go. So let's take a look. So I read that one, or I shared that one already. Q3 and Q4, everything's bullish and great index is high. For Q3 and Q4 for what? For Nvidia or for what stock, SM? I don't know what stock you're talking about. So if you can share it, that way I'll let you know my thoughts on the next quarters. Top Tech, thank you for the follow, appreciate it. Um, see top tag James again. Thank you for the follow. Preito. Thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate you guys again. Motivates me to keep doing this because I'm getting a lot of follows tonight. So I appreciate it. I hope that you guys appreciate my honesty too. I don't mean to offend anyone when I share what I believe on some stocks that are pure speculation. I respect your choices if that's what you believe and that's what you like. I'm just completely honest. When it comes to stocks that don't really have a lot of fundamentals. uh, FNGR. Didn't we look at FNGR earlier? Uh, here. So yeah. So you say it's gonna boom. It's been booming. It's been booming. But the thing with with this type of stock, because it rallied so much, um, it tends to correct. It tends to correct. Today it closed in the green, but you kind of have like a doji candle. Um, so I don't know what's gonna happen tomorrow. It tomorrow, like it's Friday, it's usually a slow day. Like I mentioned, it has low volume, so I don't expect this to keep booming. Probably tomorrow it's just gonna be choppy. So it might boom. The technicals are looking good, but I think it's gonna correct before it goes up again. If I see a resistance, let's see, or actually it has support. Had a resistance that became support at around $3.92. And today it almost hit it. So I mean, you can. I'm not lying. Look at this, right? So the stock went down and it hit resistance at around that price, which is right there. So forgot to move that. Right, yeah. So that's a resistance right here from back in April of 24, so last month. That was a resistance, and now it is April of 2024. Sorry, that was last year. So that was the last resistance. It broke to the resistance. It tried to reclaim it today. So you see, it almost touched the resistance, and then it went back up, but it closed like midways. So it might be choppy. Try to hit the resistance again, and from there probably go up again. City, let's say City really quick. So City Group. Wait, why am I not getting? Is that the ticker symbol? AMIA City. Because I'm not getting the City Group. Are they from Canada? I thought that was a U.S. company. Just confirm on that so that I can look at the right stock. Um, Share the live. Bird, thank you for sharing the live. Again, appreciate you guys. If you guys can help me with tapping the screen, that way I can get to the last few questions and then finish very strong on today's live. So yes, he sent it to me for free. Yeah. So Julie, I hope that you can take advantage of that book. Once you're done with that, Julie, let me know. I mean, however long it takes you, it might take you a couple of months, depending on how fast you want to get through it. Once you get through it, let me know. I have a couple more things to share that are free, and a lot of them are books. I read this book. I don't know if you guys can see it right there. It's called The Psychology of Money. It doesn't talk specifically about stocks, but it talks about mentality. A lot how to handle emotions when it comes to the stock market, and it's a really good book. It's a bestseller. I really recommend it. I read it a while back, and I was rereading it again, and it's really good. So I got that on a PDF, so I can share that with you later once you're done with the first one. I don't want to bombard you with a bunch of books. So start with one, and then I can send you more info that I have that I get from my group. Gold Trader, thank you for the follow, man. Appreciate it. United Health. United Health is not looking good. Reddit is looking pretty bad. It's got really bad news. So where's United Health? Right here. So here's the thing with United Health. If you guys are familiar with this stock, they are in the healthcare sector, and it is a good company. It brings in really good revenue, but it had a really bad month because of bad news. So the first thing that happened with this stock is they could not release the future guidance because of prices. They could not figure out, how much money they're gonna bring in. So that was the first thing that made the stock drop. Then number two, the CEO suddenly quit. I think it was last week, and this is the new CEO that was appointed after they killed the past CEO about a year ago, I believe. They killed the United Health CEO. So after that, they put this guy, and this guy just suddenly quit. And then number three, which happened a couple of days ago, the DOJ, which is the Department of Justice, is investigating United Health because of supposedly they are there's some kind of corruption with Medicare. I don't know. They are altering their numbers, something like that. So they're investigating. And when the DOJ investigates a company, it's because there's something shady in the company or something that they're not being transparent about. So that is what's sending the stock down. So as long as there is an investigation and there are problems, this stock is probably gonna be choppy, or it's gonna drop more. I mean, it dropped more than 55%. I think it's right now it's like at a 60% drop from all-time highs. So it went from $600 all the way to 250 in a matter of a month. So imagine if you bought at $600. I mean, right now you are less than half of your money. So be careful with this stock. Today it closed pretty good with the Dragonfly Doji, which means that for those of you that are not familiar with the term, it means that when the stock closes like this with the candle, with the Dragonfly candle, it means that it's probably trying to reverse. But again, the bad news are still there. So I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with this stock. If it gets more bad news, I mean, it could continue to drop. It has broken all of the supports that it had. So, it might reverse, but I would not touch it for now. I have some stock. I bought like a 300, just a speculation. I bought like 10 stocks, so not something crazy. Hoping that I can make a couple bucks. In the long term, United Health will be okay, but in the short term, it's not looking great. So just be careful with that. Just Julian, yo, bro, what's up, man? You trade with those SMAs? Yeah, I trade with the 50, the 20s, and the 200s. Needs to come back. Microsoft support. I'm not sure. Support Anta is dead, bro. Failed IPO. Anta, what is Anta? Is that not another company for Microsoft? I don't know, but Microsoft is rocking, man. Microsoft had really good earnings, and it went from 480 or 490 to no, I'm sorry, from 390 to like 450. That's where it is right now. I was in this position a couple days ago, and I sold once it made that jump. I sold like around 430. It continued to go up, but again, because it had that jump and my average was about 390, I just sold out of that position just to get some profits. Um, so ticker symbol C. Amia, ticker symbol C. Will that come out? Oh, Citigroup. Yeah, there you go. So I was looking Citi, and I was like, wait, that's from Canada. I didn't have it on my list. So let's take a look really quick at Citi. So Citi, I mean, it had a drop because of the tariffs. I haven't heard anything bad about Citigroup. So maintaining Citigroup to 100 from 94 price target. So I mean, it had its price target increase, and whenever that happens, usually the stock gets more confidence, and investors get more confident to invest in the stock. As far as I can see, the only thing I can tell you right now is that on the daily chart, it's very far away from the SMAs, and whenever stocks are far away from the SMAs, they usually tend to correct, and try to touch either the 20 SMA or the 50. So in this case, as you can see here, up here, when it was far away from the 20 and the 50 SMA, I mean, look at what it did, right? It tried to touch some of those support lines, and eventually it broke because of the tariffs. Had nothing to do with City, but it reclaimed barely the 200 SMA, and then it went all the way up. I would try to see if it retest one of these SMAs, and then from there, go back up again. But right now, it's a little high. It has a gap right there. Let me actually draw it. It has a gap from $72 to 74. So it has about a $2 gap. If it drops tomorrow, it's probably gonna fill in that gap because the gaps are always filled in. If there is a gap from one day to another, they get always filled in. So yeah, so that's what might happen tomorrow with City. I will definitely let you know. Yeah, Julie. Yeah, let me know. It's not a good business when your member count is decreasing while your revenue increases. Yep, definitely not, man. Definitely not. CM, thank you for the follow. Giap, thank you for the follow too. User, thank you for the follow. And now his name is Microsoft Support Bro. Oh, got you. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna call it a night. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I appreciate the comments. I appreciate the likes. Like I said, we got to a all time high for my lives, 10,000 likes. So appreciate your support. I will be here tomorrow from 9 to 11, and hope that we can talk a little bit about the market and what to expect, what happened. If you don't follow me yet, follow me. I will be uploading videos early in the morning just to tell you, what's going on in the market, what to expect for that day, and share some of the news that usually we get early in the morning to see what to expect from the market. So I hope you guys have a great night. Appreciate you being here, and